We're good? We're live? All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Community Roundtable here in the Gumdolph Kingdom. My name is Wild Paparazzi, joined always by our gracious host, Gumdolph the Great. What's up, Vinny?
Not much, man. How are you?
Oh, not bad, not bad. Welcome back. We had to skip last week. We are back now with Community Roundtable, and tonight we are talking neutral and fighting games. We got two very special guests with us tonight. Before I get into introducing them, I want to take a moment, thank our sponsors here. We have Junk Food Custom Arcades. If you folks haven't checked them out, be sure to do so. Junk Food Custom Arcades has all sorts of fighting game peripherals, so if you're looking for a hitbox, snack box, arcade stick, fighting games, things of that nature, be sure to check out Junk Food Custom Arcades. Of course, we got to shout out the shop, Micro Game Play and Trade. Check them out here in Liverpool. If you're looking for any sort of retro games or current games, visit Vinny and the owner Chris down at the shop there, Micro Game Play and Trade, where we host our monthlies. Of course, our monthlies, Syracuse Sucker Punch, hosted by the godfather of the FGC, DJ Silence, a.k.a. Kenyon, hosting the monthlies there. So if you're looking to play monthly, be sure to check out Syracuse Sucker Punch. And then, of course, got to shout out our brethren at the Attack from All Sides group. Kangaskhan runs a great program weekly down at Three Lives Barcade down in the city of Syracuse. So if you're looking to play weekly, they rotate a bunch of games here, but right now mainly it's just Tekken and whatever else the community wants to play there. So check it out. Sunday nights starting at 5 p.m. till whenever down at Three Lives Barcade. Attack from All Sides, guys. Kangaskhan runs a nice little program there. So if you're looking to play weekly, check out Attack from All Sides. Monthly, Syracuse Sucker Punch. Or if you're looking to play that online game here in the Gumdolph Kingdom, we got you covered. So tonight, like I mentioned, we're talking neutral with two of probably one of the most prominent players here in Syracuse. First and foremost, we've got Layden. What's going on, Jeremy?
Hey, everybody. How we doing?
Welcome back to the Community Roundtable. You were one of the first ones on the table. So we're
always good to be back.
And then, of course, we've got CNY Chris D. What's going on, Chris?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me again.
Going to be wonderful tonight. We are talking neutral and fighting games. This is going to be an educational one. I'm going to do a lot of listening tonight because I know neutral myself is something I got to work on in my game plan here. So I'll turn it over to you, Vinny. There's the intro. I've done the intro for the sponsorships, for the fans, for our guests. Back over to you.
All right. So this was requested. Chris wanted to talk about this topic, and Jeremy said he'd chime in as well. So, Chris, where do you want to start, my friend? I'll let you take the wheel.
I should have planned this out.
Just like a regular table, throwing you on the spot.
Nah, that's quite alright. There's a few different avenues I guess we could go with this, but essentially I'll just start the very basic and the understanding of, do either you, Vinny, or you, Rick, do you guys understand the basic concepts of neutral? Do you even know what it is?
You know what? I know what it is, but maybe some of the folks that are listening who are not too familiar with fighting games know what neutral is or what we say what neutral is. So maybe we'll start with the bare basics. What is neutral?
What is neutral is essentially when you begin a match, you're both in a neutral state, obviously. Essentially, neutral is just getting from a disadvantageous to an advantageous position anywhere, and that can be done by any means, by your buttons, by your movement. Essentially just getting to a position against your opponent where you can kind of control what's going on. Or
Got the advantage.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally it. But there's so many ways to go about it, and there's a lot. But there are some ways to break it down and make it simplified. There is essentially a 3-structure rule to it. And the first, I have two, I want to say, not say like glossaries, but essentially like two different like handbooks for neutral. The first one is known as the Machobo Guilty Gear Fundamentals. So this is a very good, essentially, this is very good. It goes over essentially like Machobo was like one of like the best Guilty Gear players ever.
Yeah, he's up there with really big names like Omito and Kazunoko, and really like what are considered like some of the Japanese anime gods. He's definitely a consistent contender.
So in this, it was this was like an old discussion that I think Machabo and Kazunoko themselves they had. It was like a video from years ago, but someone essentially took what they said and made a PDF book of it. So let me.
Shoot me the link, Chris. I think I found it, but I want to make sure I got the right one.
Yeah, you should have it. I want to send it to you again. I'll DM it to you real quick.
Cool.
Let's see here.
Same one. Let me pull it up real.
I was gonna say I can share my screen so I can have it up. Because there's a few examples I want to share too.
Let's see.
You guys have it up? Okay.
I have it up, but let me get it up on the stream. As long as I don't fuck it up, then I bet.
Now you'll be okay.
Loading up. Slowly but surely, it's
Alrighty.
loading up.
One at a time. One thing at a time.
Let's make sure this works. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's good enough, I guess.
Okay.
Yanni, the only anime god that I know is laid on. That's right.
That's crazy.
Anime.
Is that through yours? Oh, is that you got it up on yours?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
It fucked
Essentially,
up, though. Give me your screen. It fucked up. I can't scroll on it.
I already have. I have it live.
Okay. I will pull it up. You can start talking. I will pull it up in a sec.
Okay. So, what they say is that neutral game. Learn the neutral game using the 3 structure. There's like a 3x structure to it. And in this, there's 3 different Japanese names. There's Okiwaza, Atewaza, and Sashikashi?
Keishi.
Keishi. Okiwaza means you preemptively make a move. So if you have a button that covers a space, you are throwing that out. Say like, I don't know, any anime button, like...
Really good examples, just like a Dhalsim, like, heavy punch.
Yeah, Dhalsim Heavy Punch. Nago, half of his normals, destroying normals,
Yeah,
that's
yep.
covering that space. Arewaza means doing a move that will hit waiting opponents.
Yeah, just to go back to Okiwaza, we're talking about anything where the space is already created, right? So you are not taking a big risk. In most situations, you're not taking a big risk. The move is notorious for doing what it does, which is covering a certain portion of the screen. And it's not a preemptive, it's just this sets the pace of the match and the tone of the match. And you're trying to set that up as soon as possible.
Let's see here. Nago. Loop.
Being a bitch.
Because reasons.
Just do what I want you to do.
Let's see here. Let's just good example here. Well, kinda, but essentially a poke that covers a good range.
Yeah, this is in every game, I feel. Like, every game has that one character where there's a really strong, abusable normal that doesn't really have a large risk window. Like, there's nothing to really be... Nago's got his 2S for the longest time. I think it just recently got nerfed.
Mhm.
You've got just Dhalsim in general. His whole character is based on that. And yeah, they're basically there to be the characters who control that pace. And it's important to understand, like, when looking at a character that maybe you don't know, or they're, new game or something, what those ranges are that are not, I wouldn't say uncontestable, but dangerous to contest.
Yeah. And that range changes based on the game you're playing. Guilty Gear essentially is a much faster game than, say, something like Street Fighter. So you're going to have normals that cover much more space. You're going to have way more air mobility. Marvel, where essentially you have the whole screen, all that movement. So it can be anything. Let's see here. Yeah, we went Okiwaza, Arewaza is doing with the hit winning opponents. So we'll come back to all this. I'm just going through the three. So we got Atewaza doing a move that means hitting waiting opponents, and Sashikashi, which means waiting for the opponent to make a move and then reacting to it. So how the structure works is you have a move that you're preemptively putting out to cover space. Then you're doing a move that's hitting waiting opponents. So say if your opponent is waiting for you to poke with those buttons, you can do a move, say like a low to poke them, like a low forward, you walk low forward. And then the third one is essentially whiff punishing. This is how whiff punishing works. So if you're reacting to a move that your opponent's making, say they're doing one. If they're doing one, they're covering the screen with a button. Say like, okay, you're trying to whiff punish, I don't know, Ryu low forward. Ryu or Ken doing low forward in a fireball. You know that's the move they're looking for, so they're putting out their low forward. And essentially, you're trying to whiff punish that button with your own button, maybe like sweep. So they get in range, they're going back and forth, they're poking with that button. Sashikashi is essentially you realizing that and whiff punishing their normal. So that's the 3-act structure. Preemptively pressing a button, waiting for them to do something, and reacting and punishing their preemptive attacks. It's rock, paper, scissors. But because of how different all these games are, there's many different ways to it. And it's not just on the ground, footsies like Street Fighter footsies. Every game has their own flavor. Marvel, you're all over the screen. Anime games in general, you're all over the screen, and characters have like very fast, full reaching normals. There's ways to spend bar to let you cancel into whatever you want.
To touch on this real quick, it's better to look at all games as like, and not to be too cliche, but as like a flowing state of water where it can change at any point. A good example, obviously, in Chris's case, is a lot of people want to look at Street Fighters like this is a grounded-based game. There are certain characters that, they can activate a mode or a V-trigger or something that changes that state of the game immediately. That's why it's always important to consider neutral is not... And this is, I think, where a lot of beginners get tripped up. They think that neutral is going to be played the way that they see the pros play it, but the reality is, like, neutral is a constant flowing state. You are never going to have the same neutral every game. It very rarely is going to happen.
No, absolutely. Regardless of your level, like, yeah, even at a beginner level, your neutral is getting over them just doing random DP or jumping constantly, which is the other part. In order to be able to play this game, you have to get your anti-airs down. That's the very first thing in the Machubo tutorial. Basics. Begin with anti-airs. If your opponent can just jump in on you for free, you don't get to play this game. That's it.
Yeah, and it's really easy to look at jump-ins as like, okay, well, why are jump-ins so powerful? Obviously, they're combo confirmable to low-level players. Like, it's going to be the easiest way to start your combo. They give you plus frames on block, so worst case, like, you didn't anti-air it while you blocked it. Okay, well, now maybe they get a throw or a strike mix off it. Being able to control that space is incredibly important, and I agree that is, like, it's got to be the day one for most people is to figure out how to anti-air.
Like I said, without it, you're not getting anywhere. Whether it's a poke, and in the case of Guilty Gear, your 6P is invincible, especially in Strive. Maybe a little too invincible on ground, but the point of it is to be a universal anti-air, to essentially stop people from dashing in on you, or, a DP, essentially like a Dragon Punch, a Shoryuken move. It's going to come down to one of those two. Everything's alright on your end? Because I just went back on and I saw that.
Yeah, I fixed it. It was
Okay, good.
being a total bitch to me. I hated it. I figured it out, so we're good now.
Good. I'm not going to go too much into this, because there is a lot. But, it mentions down here about combining the 3-act structure with the anti-airs. To correct a relatively common misunderstanding, you cannot do your go-to anti-air without option on reaction against some moves. Because that's the other part, too, regarding neutral, is when you're doing the 3-act structure, you can't react to everything. if you're looking, say you're looking for your opponent to preemptively press a button, they can just dash in your face. Or they can jump. That's where the mental stack comes in. You have so much you have to worry about, so based on your situation and based on what your opponent has, say based on their meter, you have to look for certain things to be ready for it. Say if you have full meter, I keep going back to Street Fighter because that's what I'm familiar with, but say you're Ryu and you have full meter for super. Well, you're kind of be waiting for your opponent to mistakenly throw a fireball. They throw a fireball, you can react and do super. That's just one example of many. But like I said, back to this, the 3x structure with anti-airs, if you're looking for one of those things, your opponent can kind of just jump in on you and punish you. Which is, you might see that in a lot of high-level play. You're wondering, like, well, why didn't he just anti-air him? Because he's not looking for it. Because the mental stack is too high in a situation where you can get away with something like that. Whereas if you're playing at a lower level, they're not looking for that, and they could just anti-air for free. Jeremy?
Yeah. A really good touch on that because, yeah, I think it's really interesting. At least, you know, we've met these people, Chris, throughout our time, and I want to say most people fall into the trap of being like, you know, well, this guy just keeps jumping. Like, I don't know what to do, and, you know, we end up with a lot of players who are stuck because they can't stop one or two options that are going on. A lot of these answers, you know, I'll just, if I don't want to have the conversation for very long, I'll just say to lab it. But the reality is that, like, the more you play these games, the more you understand, like, there are options beyond the options that you are using that you're just not thinking of a lot of the time. Because some people will look at, like, a dedicated anti-air button and be like, this is the thing, this is what I have to use. But what separates, like, a beginner to a mid-level and a high-level player is knowing exactly what's going to do the most for their situation at the time. I guess a really good example of this is, like, knowing when to just do your safe anti-air. So, like, Ryu can just do, like, Crouching Fierce, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you got a full stick of butter, you know, you got a super, and now it's like, okay, if I DP something, I'm getting, you know, however, what is it, 40% in that game?
Like that.
Yeah, 40% or more damage if I do this correctly. That's when stuff starts getting really interesting in how you're controlling neutral, is understanding that you can sit on these risks because your character, you as a player, are comfortable with making these decisions.
Precisely. A lot of that understanding of essentially where your resources are and understanding risk reward. Again, I got it up here, risk reward, basics first. Not only are there a lot of options of Guilty Gear that you need to know how they interact with each other, you also make decisions based on risk reward perspective. They're able to win more consistently. So that's something I've noticed when playing SF5, and there's essentially the bottleneck of online ranked, which you're going to see in a lot of games. The bottleneck of where players are stuck at a certain level and they can't get any higher. And a lot of that has to do that they don't understand the concept of risk reward. They're constantly playing their hand. Like, they're just forcing their way in. Like, you've seen the typical, like, online Kens. That'll just wake up DP all the time. They'll just go in, rush down constantly. And it's that and a lot of other things where players, they have really good offense, but their defense is either not that good. There's something in their game plan that's really flawed, and it's holding them back from progressing any further. And to me, that I feel a lot of that is the concept of not understanding risk reward.
Yeah, I think that's very common, is that, like I said, a lot of players mentally block themselves because they think that their option should be the option to use, and it's neutral. Like I said, it's constantly flowing. You're never going to be presented the same option over and over again, unless the person you're playing in, like, this is one of the things that I personally do, is that if the person I'm playing is not changing things up and it's like it's the consistent same thing and we're just playing sets, after a bit I'm done at that point, because, like, you're not really learning anything and they might be getting smoked by the same thing over and over again. But if you're not trying to find a solution in those situations, you got to ask yourself if you're really learning anything.
A lot of times, I don't think they are.
Yeah, that's just the nature, right? Some people just want to get on and press buttons. That's fine, but if you're trying to improve your play, like your neutral and things, stuff like that isn't really going to help you, because the minute you play someone who now does not just do that same tired old option, you're going to feel like you were never prepared for it.
No. Like, I've had plenty of matches where I just walked up and did Crouching Fierce 5 times in a row. Because they try to do the thing that they're comfortable with, and without even thinking, I've hit them like 5-6 times in a row in the face, and then they finally just like panic and they start throwing stuff at me. Like I said, let me see on here. I was gonna go to the Footsie's Handbook in a second, but before I want to get out of the risk reward, why people get stuck in that is mostly because of what he said, if not everything. But also, in tense situations, you gotta understand what you can do and what your opponent can do. So, like, if your back is to the corner, or you're on the ground and I can pressure you, a lot of times you might see people like doing a wake up DP or wake up super. Sometimes that's gonna work, and sometimes it's not. That might get you a win in a match. It might not. But you kind of have to understand when the right time is to do it. Sometimes in a high pressure situation, you gotta let it rock. That's just... There's a little bit of luck that does go into stuff like this. Like, that's not, he was smart or he was dumb. At the end of the day, if it works, it works. But you have to understand what makes it work consistently. Sure, you're playing online and you're playing against a well-known player, and you can get a win on him by doing like a wake-up DP out of nowhere. But that's not always going to work, and that's not going to work in a tournament setting all the time. Especially when, say, you do that round 1, and then round 2, he goes, well, last time I had him on the ground and he was down, he did a wake-up super. Well, I'm going to repeat it and do it again and see what happens. And then you do it again and you lose. So, I'm going to go switch over to what's known as the Footsie's Handbook, the Street Fighter Footsie's Handbook. This was a very old... How old is it? Jeremy, do you know how old this is?
Oh, man. I want to say about 20 years. No, maybe like...
Close to 20.
It's close to 20. Yeah, it's close to 20. If not a little over 20. I can't quite remember, but yeah, I feel like I read this at about the start of Street Fighter 4.
Yeah. It even has SF4 TAV series. So, yeah, this goes pretty far back. And I mean, this hasn't been updated as far as I'm aware. Oh, here it is. Entry posted December 5th, 2009.
Whew.
Yeah. But like, this is more of like a I don't want to say glossary, but it is a handbook essentially. It is essentially like different ways you can apply neutral in footsies. And these concepts apply to like every game. It just happen to all be Street Fighter related. I'll just read a couple of the first paragraphs. A lot of people make the mistake assuming that footsies is something you whip up on the fly. Well, you can certainly do it that way, and while freestyling footsies is certainly a valuable skill, the fact of the matter is Alex Valier knows more about footsies than you'll ever know, unfortunately. The real problem is that you don't even know what you're supposed to do these things. Footsies as a whole is such a dynamic, complex subject that it's impossible to convey or grasp at once. So we're going to try to do something a little different. Let's approach footsies like a collection of situations and try to come up with elemental solutions to each scenario. Practice these one by one until you're comfortable enough to incorporate them fluidly into your game plan. So I'll start at the very beginning. Typically, you'll see this more common in Street Fighter than most other games, and maybe like more grounded games like maybe KI, definitely like KOF. So essentially what you see most people doing is just walking back and forth. It's because they're stepping into your position. They know where their position is on the screen. They know where their buttons are, where their buttons are going to interact with yours. So they're walking in and out, trying to see what you'll do. So element 1. Momentarily step into your opponent's poke range and quickly back out instead of attacking. This is footsies 1-on-1, essentially. Walking in, walking out of position.
Yeah, this is how you create whiff punishes.
So I got an example right here. It is Mike Watson. Watson demolishing some poor bastard. Exactly what happens here. Can you see this, Vinny?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, I'm gonna play it right here. There's probably no audio. It's a minute long, but just watch what. So Mike Watson's Guile. Just pay attention to Guile and the other kid. The other guy's gonna play Ken. This is old ass footage, 15 years ago. And just watch what he's doing. Sonic boom, Sonic boom. No. Watch where he's positioned. Walk in, walk out, punish. He's just flash kick. Walk in, walk out, punish. Throw. Walk in, walk out. Just a very simple concept, and you can. I mean, I feel bad for this kid, but I mean, this is it. You see the range? He's staying in range of his buttons because Ken's DPing, expecting him to throw out a button, and he doesn't. Up, and now at the very end, now he's like, oh god, I made a mistake. He finally corrects his mistake at the last minute, so then what does Watson do? He goes in. That's Footsie's 101. Go to the second one. Determine which of your combos and attack streams position your opponents barely outside their effective reversal range, especially when facing characters with greater mobility. One of the best ways to trick someone to wasting meter and handing you the match is by making yourself appearing falsely vulnerable. There's no better example of this concept than the famous final exchange of the Battle by the Bay SFA Alpha 2 tournament. And this is B3 is pre-Evo. Like, I mean, it was the original Evo.
Mm-hmm.
Battle by the Bay was the Street Fighter Alpha 2 tournament in California. That's where it all began. And this is the grand finals. Hey, John. Sorry, Bill's a little fast.
All good. Has sound this time, which is nice.
Yeah, let me see if I can go back a little bit. So, slow it down here. See if I can find the right... So I'll stop it when it happens. Get all Alpha 2. So, okay, Valle knocks him down.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan of the cross up at the corner, but who am I to judge Valle? So he goes for the cross up. Positions himself, punishes him right here. So see where he is right here?
Mm-hmm.
Pushed out like this. So Choi, Valle's got like no health left. Don Choi activates thinking, well, I'm just going to chip him out. He's got no resources. And you're dead. Because you can't block in custom combo.
Mm-hmm.
And you just rush right in. That's the whole idea of appearing falsely vulnerable. Okay, I'll do the last one. Once you've established a pattern of poking consistently at a certain range, use your opponent's hesitation to walk up and throw them. It's always dangerous to wander an enemy attack range, so wait until you're certain you trained but think twice about pushing buttons.
Alright, so for this one, I actually sent Vinny a clip to use.
Yeah, I gotta pull it up. Give me a sec. I'll get it up. Hang on.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah, it's a little long.
I did want to demonstrate this one because I want people to understand like the concept of just making your opponent second guess in the heat of the moment of what their actual attack range is.
Yeah.
See if it'll cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
OBS fucking hates me.
Yep. Going back to it, the Mike Watson clip. If you go to the very end, now that Ken is low on health and scared.
I could send it to Chris if you want to view off his.
It'd make it easier because it's already like pulled up and saved.
Yeah, go ahead and send it to me.
Rather than trying to figure out why it's not letting me pull fucking browser windows up on OBS.
Yeah.
Because it hates
Alright,
me.
I sent it to you.
Alrighty, I already got here. Oh boy, here we go.
Alright, hang on, Chris. Don't start it yet.
Alright. Let me know when you're ready.
Alright, you're good now.
Would it killed? Nah, it would have been heavily scaled, huh? Oh, threat the need. No shot. What? What the? Bro.
Okay, so yeah, I love this clip. Number one, because it's me, right? But more importantly, what this clip basically shows is that in the small exchange that me and Mule have, which, if for those who don't know, this is pretty much one of North America's best DNF players I'm playing against. So the first exchange we have, you can kind of see it where I stop the screen with conversion because I want to show him that the last time he did this, he clipped me out of the air, right? So I had to establish that, like, all right, I can stop my momentum, and just this small exchange was enough of a freeze I felt that I could get out of him, that he would think, okay, he's either going to try and whiff punish the button I just stuck out, or he's going to do, like, you know, a jump normal or something that my character does. So instead of all that, I decide, like, okay, there's two things that I know about my super, right? It's my fastest button, and also if they're crouching, so if he thinks I am going to go for an air normal or jump in, he's going to extend out his box a little bit, and my super is going to grab from a range he's not used to. This is pretty key stuff in knowing, like, when you know knowledge of your character that other people don't, in that what their reaction to the situation is going to create that opening that you need. And Hitman, you have to understand this character has really far-reaching buttons that just cook my character. Like, there's nothing I can do against his neutral. But he has to naturally be scared because if I land a hit, it's going to kill. So
Exactly.
just in that moment, it's all that matters is that he's scared enough
God.
to not want to check me.
Sorry. Sorry.
Watching it in real time.
I'm so
Chris.
used to this. I'm so used to this. I should have figured this out from the get-go.
It
Yeah.
happens. Shit happens.
Just a good example from, you know, a voice who's here of what this means to create that second of hesitation, that second of fear that you need.
Exactly. And that's the prime example of playing as a grappler. You have to put the fear into them to get them to do what you want. Man, that goes far. Like, even like
It's because he's crouching, yeah.
But even so, that still looks kind of far.
Yeah, it's got a lot more range than people give it credit for.
God.
Yipes yelling in the background is
I
amazing
love
too.
Yipes. Oh man.
What?
Just him screaming.
That's funny.
I don't even know if I have anything on here. You are gonna... Oh, I know what that is. Never mind. Ah, screw that. Anyway. Let's see here. Where was I?
I saw you pull the dust loop up.
Yeah, let me get back to that. Let's see here.
Also, while you're doing that, Jeremy, you are the DNF online tournament guy. When's the next online tournament for you, my friend?
So I actually competed last night in a pop-up one, had a $150 pop bonus. Unfortunately, did not make top 8. Had kind of a bit of a fizzle for that night. The next one right now, I don't know. We're actually, so Arc World Tour is this weekend, which is, you know, everyone's going to be watching that, both for Guilty Gear and for DNF. We're actually in a little bit of a limbo right now. Usually, you know, can opener was Tuesday, TNS was Thursday. As of right now, we're not really sure how many online events we're going to have. But yeah, I'm trying to still enter one a week. So hopefully, if, you know, I can figure out who's going to be hosting, I'll get some kind of, you know, notification out there if people do want to see me play.
I do. The Grappler's a work of art.
Thank you.
Fucking entertaining.
Yeah, it is. We got a minute. Do either you or Rick have any questions? Does anyone in chat might have any questions?
I'm gonna let Rick. I haven't heard Rick at all.
Yeah, Rick.
He's just
I got-
absorbing. He's just absorbing the knowledge.
Yeah, no, I'm just listening, guys. I mean, this is all
Like
good
a sponge.
information. all great information. I think and you may have already touched upon this, but if somebody wants to practice neutral in like practice mode, right? What recommendations would you guys have? like in terms of how to practice that?
It's really tough, right? Because you're thinking neutral, like it's got to be a moving, living person, right? It's so hard to set that up. So here's a really cool idea that I learned forever ago in Third Strike. Take the character and set as many practice options as you can to their, let's just say, most abusable, neutral, normal like options. Okay, so like say it's Strive, and you want to learn how to fight against Leo's normal. Okay, or neutral. Okay, so you're gonna set them up for all the buttons that you see like really good players use, like 2D, which is his trip. You see a lot of like is it 5S is like the single sword slash.
Yep.
Yep. 5S. Air dash normal. You can set them up for those and just go through them. So the biggest tip I got forever ago, and this is kind of how I've always approached neutral, is if you look at a character, and what you want to do is mentally store every normal that they have access to that's good as like kind of like an interlaced picture, right? So if you picture like Ken, you want to picture him doing a low forward, a standing fierce, a standing round kick, and like try to picture that. If that's too hard to do, just take images and you can literally just paste them over each other, and you can kind of see like where his gap is in the neutral that you can attack from. Sorry, say again?
I just said okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the image I always have in my mind from that is that I can't find the video. I'm having a horrible time finding it. But Rennick, forever ago, a really good Third Strike player, made a Chun-Li video where it was just like, you know how when you do custom combos, they have kind of that blue shader behind them?
Mm-hmm.
He interlaced all the blue shaders of like Chun's normals, and there's like a blind spot that's basically a little bit above her shoulders.
Huh.
That is where you attack from.
Interesting.
And that's always that's seared into my mind is like when I face like a good example in DNF is, Hitman or Striker, who just have incredible neutral options in my mind. I'm immediately considering, okay, where are the angles that they can attack from that I need to be ready to counter? And is there a specific direction where like there's a high chance they're not gonna use that option?
I like that. I didn't know you could do that in a game like Third Strike. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's if I could ever find the image again, like it's like I said, it's something that's always been seared into my mind of like just picture all their normals interlaced over each other and find where there's space.
Noted that one.
That's actually, I never heard of that one.
Yeah,
So that's really good.
Yeah, like I said, if I can at least pull an example, I wish I was good with Photoshop. I could at least show, I'm sure there's some people just even in the chat that are like, I don't get what he's talking about. And it's like, it's hard to explain, but you'll know when you see it.
I mean, I can whip something up. Probably not at the moment because I would need a picture of all their normals.
Yeah, you could
Like,
just go to Dustloop and open up a paint and just copy and paste the character over each other and interlace it, and you would find where that empty space is.
Because you would see where all their buttons are and know, okay, they're not attacking this region, so I can come in through there.
Yes. That's honestly a large part of the reason that, I get free jump-ins on a lot of characters. Like, I can, as a player, if you see my playstyle, I will find spots where it's like, why would you do that? And it's like, well, they're not going to hit me from a blind spot.
Exactly. And I get you from a blind spot, they're not going to expect it. Or if you condition them, they're going to be too scared to press a button in the first place.
Yep.
Conditioning can be a big part in the neutral game. And if you can scare your opponent out of their best option, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you're playing at a lower level and playing against other people, it's harder to condition people to play the way you want to. At a higher level, you can do that because you're playing, quote unquote, playing the game. But if they don't understand the full neutral game, then they're just going to do what they want at the end of the day. And that's how you get killed by, quote unquote, as people have said, bad players, because you're expecting them to play a certain way and they're not. So in that case, you have to play more safely and essentially bait them into doing what you expect them to do, and then you get punish them from there. Go ahead.
Makes
Sorry.
sense. Oh, you're fine.
Okay. No, I thought Jeremy was going to say something else.
No, yeah, that was pretty much it. I think a really good I don't know like what the time frame looks like, but there's a clip, and Chris, I'm sure you know this. I feel like this is one of those, like, if you've been in the scene for a long time, you know this clip. When Daigo crouching fierce into Super Arturo's full screen
Yes.
heavy punch.
Yep.
That's one of those moments where I'm like, this is the kind of stuff you have to if you're looking for it, it's gonna be
Oh, there it is.
Daigo versus Sabin, I'm pretty sure, is just in. It's going to be like EVO 2011 or something, I think.
Here it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. My God, of course.
Yeah, sorry for the low quality, but
Yeah, it's going to be right before the ending. This clip, once again, lives rent-free in my head of, like, what does it look like to condition?
God, finals used to be.
Alright, this is it. Yeah, this is it.
No, that wasn't what we're thinking of.
Oh, is this the Salty Sweet set? Yeah, go back. Go back on the clip. Like, go back from YouTube. This isn't the,
Okay.
this isn't
Oh,
the
that's
set.
not it?
No, that's not the set.
Oh, the salty sweet.
It might have been final round, actually.
I know what
Young
you're
Daigo
talking
there.
about.
There it is. Season beatings. I see it.
Yeah.
The crowd reaction one, or the redemption one. Yeah.
Sorry for the state of quality, but get what we can get.
He's waiting for the.
Yeah, like even
Oh,
there,
watch
he's
spacing.
he's starting to just break down. Okay, these are your normals. This is what I'm going to use to counter poke you. And like Dawson doesn't really get counter poked, you know.
So let's
like-
see over here. If you look closely, you can already see Daigo's trying to do it.
Yeah.
He's already trying to do it.
Do you have that full screen, Chris? You might want to.
It is full screened.
Yeah, don't full screen it. I don't think it's coming up right.
No, it's because the guy's like it's. Oh, that was it right there.
Oh, gotcha.
The how the guy has it is weird.
Yeah, he's recording it on like one of those old ass.
He's recording it on his computer screen because I guess it's
Jesus.
gone. But see, he's waiting. He's standing there. See, I'll go back a little bit. You see, he's already fishing for it. He's already going for it. And then, yep, doing it again. And
Wow.
Yeah, that is just.
wow.
He set the pace. He knew the normal that was coming out, and just from his his knowledge of his character, he knew that like this was going to create his win condition. Like it was gonna happen eventually, and he could risk the chances he was taking because like at worst case, Arturo gets I don't know 10% off that normal,
yeah, exactly.
and Daigo's gonna get like 40 to 50%.
He's just gonna kill you at that point.
Yeah.
That was long ago, so there's no like you can't tell what round it is.
No, it was over. I specifically remember like Arturo laughing and getting up off the chair and just being like,
Yeah.
what was I supposed to do? Like that was
Yeah.
incredible.
No, I was trying to remember like what round it was. Let me Nerve Zangi, please. Oh my god. Now I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, he already had the lead too. He was already up a round. So another thing you kind of have to consider is you can't, but like you are more capable of taking a risk in a high pressure situation if you are expecting it when you already had the lead. But you don't want to throw it away at the same time. But more than often, if you have the lead and you can kind of get a good read on your opponent, you have more of opportunities to take risks And even then, Daigo wasn't taking a risk, that much of a risk anyways, because he's whiff punishing from full screen. So, and Jeremy said, what's he gonna do? He's gonna get hit and lose what, 10%? It's just a poke.
The risk
So you can just
reward
keep
was
doing
there.
it. What would you say?
I said the risk reward was there.
There you go. That's understanding risk reward. Now, if Daigo was in his face trying to bait a super or punish him for a super, then he's running into Dhalsim. How much time we got? 10 minutes?
At 15, you're good. Going.
Alright. Again, do you have any questions? Any ideas, or...
At the moment, no. You've answered everything that I came up with before, like earlier today.
Oh, okay.
'Cause you went over the guides, which I kind of figured you were gonna do.
Yeah.
Should always just read it. If you just want to learn some stuff other than what you learned here tonight, just pull these up and read them. You learn a
They're out
lot.
there.
Learn a lot.
I'll even post them again.
Sometimes neutral sounds a lot more difficult than it actually is.
Exactly. And I mean, it is
It's not
difficult.
easy, but it's not as hard as some people make it out to be. It also depends on how you want to play the game, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Like-
having your own unique form of neutral is important, right? Like
Mhm.
you never want to, and this is something that comes with like emulating playstyles. I know it's very popular for people to just go on and like look at their, X top player for your character, right? And you're like, okay, what are they doing? I want to know what they're doing to win.
Mhm.
And a lot of the time it's like, people like me, people like Chris, Rick, I'm sure is at some point getting it as well. You really do just develop your own concept of neutral eventually, and it's important that you can adjust or change what you need to at the time, kind of like a puzzle of your own play style. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, okay, well, I really like this button, but this dude's smoking me for it. All right, let's get rid of it. Like, let's change this up now. Stuff like that's very important, at even just like a beginner tournament level. And it could be the strangest things that you change in a match that determine win or loss.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I got kicked from my PC, so I had to do it on my phone.
Bro, your
Like you-
computer fucking hates you, man.
Dude, I don't know, man.
Well, that's good. I mean, we can mostly get the stuff on there now regarding like personal experience and understanding neutral.
Yeah.
Just so people know, like, it's been said a few times here. I've been in the game a while. For how long I've played fighting games, and I just want you to know that it took me like 10 to 15 years to actually like establish my own neutral. This is not something you learn overnight. This is not. It's
No.
probably the hardest concept in fighting games is like establishing how you want to play the game, as opposed to like, man, I've seen so many people, and I can think of so many players in my head, even on our scene, that have sold themselves on the idea that neutral has to be played a specific way, and it doesn't. It never does. Like, never think that the way that someone plays a character is the perfect way. Everyone can play it differently.
Exactly. Everyone can play it differently. There's many different ways to play it, many different games, many different ways how it exists in those games. It all comes down to what you decide to do and how you carry it out.
Yeah, and that's an easy way to turn, a bad matchup into one that's all of a sudden winnable. Is they're expecting you to just lose for the same reason that this character is supposed to, and then you decide that, no, I don't have to use those options.
All great ways to put that.
And the other thing is, you don't have to play it. If you find out, well, maybe, I'm trying to get in, I'm trying to whiff punish him. You can't whiff punish him. Don't try it. Because if that's getting you killed, if something's getting you killed, try something else.
Listen to the man. It works.
It does work. Try something else. or essentially try to negate an option and force that option. Like I said, there's tons of different ways you can do it. Earlier this month, when I was at Frosty Faustings, I was playing against Dual Kevin, and I kind of just decided, well, he's a very experienced player, but what if I can force him to not anti-air? So what I did was I just forced my way in and jumps, and I went too far with it. I did with the dive kicks because I didn't stop when he stopped. So essentially what I did was, well, I'm going to try to jump in and just dive kick. And if I can force that option away from him for him to not anti-air, then I can essentially slow him down and get in further, get in quicker. So if I take his way of option of anti-airs, then I can jump in for free and try to avoid playing on the ground as much. And it almost worked out. But that's kind of the idea of it, is essentially playing the game differently and forcing your opponent to respect an option. Then that gives you a way of getting in. And on the receiving, oh, sorry, I keep doing that.
No, you're
was gonna
fine. Yeah, that small bit of hesitation is really, like I said, that's what wins matches.
And I was going to say, on the flip side, what people typically do against fighting Rashid at a higher level, when Rashid gets him to the corner, he'll do his whirlwind pressure. Well, what a lot of people know what to do is they know there's different ways to counter it. You can jump, you can poke him since there's like a 5-frame gap, and now they nerfed it so where his hitbox extends outward. So it's much easier to poke him and stop that pressure or use fireball invincible moves. So what I did was I would get him in the corner, I would poke, walk back, wait. And he jumped almost every time. And that just netted me free damage. That's just one of many different ways of just playing neutral, understanding your options. And you can essentially make your opponent do what you want if you're both playing the game.
Mm-hmm. So
All right, what were you gonna say?
would you say that is your most memorable moment in a match with neutral?
Recently, yes.
Okay. Jeremy, what's your most memorable moment in a match containing neutral?
Oh man, there's a ton of them. Grappler doesn't really have good neutral, so it's a lot of just making those reads, man. You know, I've landed counter hits on buttons that shouldn't have because the button's not good, right? Like you look at it and you're like, this frame data's terrible. Like this button's trash. But sometimes you can just make it happen. It's really about always about understanding those little bits of knowledge of like, how do I make my opponent hesitate enough to get counter hit? You know, there's the match, I think I brought it up before, where I was playing Anton and I just took 19 DPs, and because the neutral was established and there was finally enough fear, I ran into the range where a low was the answer and did a jump and got the confirm and won the set. Stuff like that's it's always going to be played out that way. And I can't stress enough, you know, the fact that if there's one thing for people to take away, it's that neutral is liquid. It always is. It's like water. It does not go the way you want it to. It's just going to be what it is every match. And you just have to find your way around it as soon as possible. Otherwise, you know, if someone's neutral is just too suffocating for you, like a good example is players like Punk or Justin Wong, right? They are incredible neutral monsters. And it's important to accept that, like, maybe you're not going to be there yet, but it's important to know what are their go-to options from what ranges. And that's what's going to win you matches. Anybody can get hit, man. At the end of the day, people can get whiff punished. People can, you know, they can be hit with anything. If I talked to Chris D 5 years ago, he would have told me there's no shot of him getting a top 8 at a major. You know what I mean? And now this dude's like sitting at top 8s at majors, and it's a long journey. It sucks some days. It's fucking terrible. It feels bad, but you will get to that level where you finally understand how you want to play the game and not how other people want you to play the game.
I like that.
That's probably the biggest takeaway from all that. And you'll hear I'm sure you've seen, like, the old heads. Not like old heads in general, but people are like, oh, you know, I really think, like, this game doesn't have footsies, or I don't like how, you know, SF5, you know, there's V-Trigger or SF6 where you can dash full screen and it gets rid of footsies and all that. That's just another way to play it. Like, dealing with SF6, you know that people are going to be dashing half screen like immediately because that's how they get their plus on hit stuff or plus on block. But knowing that, they can't block.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just take your turn back that way. That's one way of understanding, oh, they have this option? Well, I can do this. They do rock, I can do paper. And that's how it essentially goes. Just because a game doesn't have slow-paced, walking, quote-unquote, footsies, doesn't mean it doesn't have footsies. It doesn't mean it doesn't have neutral. You don't play more... Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm really happy you brought that up because I did want that to be one of our at least close to ending discussions. Is that, like, I have never, in my time playing fighting games, 20 years or more, ever played a game that doesn't have neutral or doesn't have footsies. They are lying to you. Every game has neutrals or footsies.
Because all it is just getting an advantage on your opponent. There is only one way that footsies would have been eradicated, and that was the discussion of Street Fighter 4 being a turn-based game. Did you hear about that?
Oh, that's funny.
Because of Street Fighter being in dire straits. Because let's be real here, Street Fighter 3 bombed. Like, it bombed. It was not successful, even with the changes with Second Impact and Third Strike. Like, the game did not do well, and Capcom was like, nope, we're done. Street Fighter is donezo. So eventually, because they did that, and then, well, CVS2 was fine, but they did Street Fighter 3. Arcades died in the US. That happened, and then Capcom Fighting All-Stars got canceled. We got Capcom Fighting Jam, and those were really bad.
That was.
Yeah, so Capcom was like, no more fighting games, goodbye. The occasional re-releases, but they didn't want to do a Street Fighter 4. And then Ono pitched Street Fighter 4 to be a turn-based game. And that would have gotten rid of footsies, because how do you get an advantage on your opponent through spacing? You can't. It's turn-based. But, that's the idea of every game has footsies and neutral. Every game. Every single fighting game you play. Hell, Shaq Fu's got footsies. Come on. Every game. You and your opponent have all this space, and you're trying to position yourselves so you can take advantage of their mistakes. That's footsies. Every game's got that. But you can't...
It was my favorite thing to hear time and time again that Dragon Ball, didn't have neutral or didn't have footsies because Super Dash existed. And just try to explain to people that, Super Dash is reactable and is a towel. It's literally the definition of a whip punish in neutral. You're not just given this way to skip it. It never happens.
No, people say, oh, this attack skips footsies. This attack, skips neutral, blah, blah, blah. If they're telling you that, outside of, funny haha, if they're seriously being yeah, this skips neutral, this is too good, they don't know what they're talking about. Because that is footsies. This option covers half the screen, it skips neutral. No, it covers half the screen. That's the option. And then you find the option to beat it, and there's options to beat it. If X or Y thing was so good, no one would be able to find a way around it. It would be broken. Mm-hmm. But people find a way around things all the time. Unless, of course, okay, this is busted, we need to fix it. But that happens rarely ever.
I mean, there's dedicated Twitter account people that post that shit daily that it's possible.
Exactly. This is
the word. You got the tech monsters and the combo monsters.
Exactly. This is the social media age where we live in. If you can't figure it out, chances are somebody has, and it's already online somewhere. And Jeremy talking about Super Dash, and oh my god, everyone groaned about Super Dash. But there's options. You can poke it, you anti-air it, you level 3 it. But the thing is, it goes back to understanding risk-reward, understanding the mental stack of, if you're looking for XY option, someone can just hit you with Z and you won't see it coming. Which again goes into Street Fighter 6, Drive Impact. And oh my god, everyone's complaining about Drive Impact. It's a new game. You're obviously not going to be able to expect it.
I'm excited to see what happens with it, man.
It's up there. It's really reminiscent of DNF, right? When DNF dropped, there were so many people who saw guard breaks, and look at this giant flaming wheel, and like what the hell? And it's like now players, you bring it up to them, and it's like that shit was solved week 1. Like we're so far beyond that.
Oh yeah, they'll be like, "Oh my god, the giant wheel's so scary." You just block it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, it does nothing.
The guaranteed guard break setups where someone just needs like 80% of their life in conversion. Like, come on, man, this stuff doesn't happen.
No, just training mode combos that won't exist in a real match.
Yeah, training mode situations. I mean, can they happen? Sure, once in every 1,000 matches. Sure, man, I believe that. But
Yeah, but it's not going to be a constant thing that happens all the time.
yeah,
Whereas, getting hit by drive impact, that's going to happen. So you have to be ready for that, which people are going to get hit by it. Like, people got hit by focus attack for a while. Like how many times did you get hit by focus attack before you're like, okay, I got this now? So it's just, people are going to figure it out. It's going to be fine. But I guarantee you that tournament that we're running, the 2 weeks after 6 drops, people are going to get hit by it constantly. It's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be hilarious. Just, it's like, what the hell?
Most of my lab time is just going to be like reacting to drive impact because it's like I know I'm going to have to deal with it.
Probably what I see might be the answer is like a answer would probably be, well, one, stay out of the corner, because even if you block it, you're going to get wall splat, which I think is a little much when you're not in burnout, but that's besides the point. I think people are going to be poking way more with their jabs since the medium buttons are unsafe now. Like, medium and heavy buttons are clearly unsafe, and you have to commit. You can't just hit confirming is going to be very hard. So I think people are going to be poking with their jabs a lot more, their light buttons. And if you get hit with a drive impact and you poke it, you recover a lot faster as you poke it again because it's 3 hits of armor. So you poke special and you break it. But that's going to take time. That's going to take time and understanding of what's going on because it's a new game. This stuff takes time. You're going to get hit by something for a while. And you're going to feel dumb about it. You're going to feel dumb about it. You're going to be like, oh, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. But as time progresses, you'll get used to it.
So, before we brought up Dragon Ball and we brought up a bunch of other stuff. How do you guys feel about the fact we might get Tenkaichi 4 before Fighter Z gets rollback?
Don't remind me.
Well,
How does it make you feel?
I wouldn't say before. There's no shot, right? Because I said the beta in spring, so I'm like, okay, maybe they get like a full version out by summer. Yeah. It's interesting. They went a direction with that one for sure.
I just found it funny. I was like, really?
I'm happy that community, and I'm a part of it, obviously. I'm happy that they're getting a balance patch. I think that people have been begging for this thing
It needs one,
for a while. And, it's also that situation of like the character bloat is so high that you're just probably going to end up with another set of top tiers. But maybe it won't be as egregious. I don't know. I see stuff like that all the time, and I'm like, well, you might think you want something else, but in reality, you're just going to end up with this different option.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the case with, Doom and Virgil. But, at the very least, you can't get rid of it, but at least you can mitigate it. Instead of there being 15 Android 21s in, the finals, maybe you'll have 8 now. If you can, whittle it down. Well, the other characters are more widespread because, you can't get rid of high tier characters. Every game's gonna have good characters. Every game's gonna have bad characters. But at the very least, you can mitigate those things, so it's not as widespread.
Yeah.
And as for Tenkaichi, I never got into Tenkaichi. Me and my friends, when I was little, we played it, and I mean, they really loved it. But I'm just like, oh, my Dragon Ball fighting game. I don't want this. But it's cool. But, you're just going to get a game where you're running around trying to find people, and there's going to be 160 characters. Like the Devilman knockoff, or the who was the mayor, wolf guy or something. They'll just put anyone in those games. So those games have their own audience, and it's going to sell well, because this is Dragon Ball, and it's going to be fun. But, for me personally, just... if it wasn't for them actually finally saying that we're getting a beta in spring for the rollback on PC, I actually would have believed that, this is coming out before the rollback at this rate.
I just had to ask.
Yeah. No, I got baited hard because they did the top 8 for Dragon Ball Finals, and then they had Grand Finals. So it's like, oh, we're doing some things. We'll be back in a half hour. So it's like a half hour after, before
No, bro,
Grand Finals.
that shit got me so good. I thought they were gonna do grands, and then they were like, come back at 9 p.m. for grands, and it was
I didn't
5
catch that.
o'clock, bro. I wanted to cry.
I didn't catch that, so it was a half hour, and I'm like, half hour? What the hell? Because it's like a weekend. It's not just for Dragon Ball. It's like all the not for fighters, but it's for like all the Dragon Ball stuff. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I got baited hard. So I wasn't paying attention to the stream. It's because we were at the, it was your birthday, so we're there at the party. And out of nowhere, it's like Tenkaichi 4 got revealed. I'm like, was that the final announcement for Dragon Ball Fighters? What the? Did they just screw them over? And they're like, oh, by the way, we're working on a different game. Bye. So I'm like, what did you guys do? And I'm like, okay. Finals hasn't happened yet. Okay, it's fine. We're fine. And so, yeah. So, like, I do want them to do... I don't think they're going to do another game. Like, I would rather them do, like, a Shonen Jump crossover. So you can have Dragon Ball. And I feel like that would be the better thing to do.
Oh, One Piece?
Because it's, like, not just One Piece, but I'm like, everyone.
Oh, like,
you did
do the Jump Star game, but do it in 2D
but
form?
like, just do like a 3v3 fighter, but instead of it just being Dragon Ball, it's everyone. It's One Piece. Now it's all. Look, if they do a game like that and they put Seto Kaiba in, I'm sold. Like, I want Seto Kaiba on my team.
When
100%.
Jump Force got announced, I was all excited, and then I saw the gameplay, and it wasn't what I wanted, and that's why I didn't play it. It's like, no,
that's what I said. I want Jump Force, but as Dragon Ball Fighters. Because I'm like, I'll take that. Like, I'll 100% take that. And that's like, it's like, where do you go from here with Dragon Ball Fighters? You do Dragon Ball Fighters 2, okay. It's
gonna be the
thing
same
is, like,
roster, though.
the thing is, like, we might be happy. We would probably be happy, but we might want more. The casual audience is gonna go, this is the same game again. I don't want to play this. Because, they make a Dragon Ball game, like, 8 Dragon Ball games every year so they don't lose the IP or something?
Yeah,
so
it's wild
do it
how many
different.
games they make.
If you're gonna do it again, you gotta do it, like, really different. You gotta change it up. So that's what I'm saying. Shonen Jump crossover. Throw them all in.
Yeah, that'd be a
And
miracle.
that would... Oh, yeah, you do that. Oh, yeah, that'll push some numbers. That'll make numbers. And then you'll have a new mechanic that everyone says skips footsies.
Yeah, it'd be like, I don't even know what they'd call it, but
Like teleport behind him, nothing personal. I don't know.
Omega Dash. So I had to ask though, because I figured your reactions would be pretty good. And my last question, I asked Jeremy before stream. He saw that last Street Fighter trailer with the 3 new characters, and he told me he likes them all. Chris, what did you think? You happy?
Oh, I'm really happy.
Okay.
I can't wait, man. I so can't wait. I'm done with 5, but like, it's all I got for now.
That is fair.
I'm just trying to get my rank back. I lost my rank because I played Ken for a couple hours and lost so many points. But it's like, it's whatever at the end of the day.
Don't make me pull a picture up.
I know.
I
That's
will.
not. I know you will.
So
It's just, I so can't wait. Everyone's so excited for it. And that also makes me really excited because just 5, like, it dropped off hard where we are. It dropped off really hard. We were playing that game and people got sick of Season 1 and then Season 2 happened. Because, like, right after Season 2 is when, like, the drop off happened. When we went from, like, almost everyone playing it to going, I don't like this game. And then it was just me, Courtney, D, and, like, that was it.
that's
And like
fair.
1 or 2 other players. But yeah, just everyone was playing it. Jeremy was playing Ibuki, and then D said that he had no Ibukis to play with. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that was a time, man. I remember when I was looking forward to MVCI because it was going to be the savior.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I
I was
remember
posting.
buying that game, dude, at the shop, and I saw, like, I don't know if you two were in the circle, but it was the first time I saw the community, and everybody was disappointed
Yeah,
the day
we were there.
after.
Yeah, we're just like, yeah. Oh no. I was posting in the Attack from All Sides chat because I was looking for something. I can't remember what it was, and I found like the opening cinematic of the story mode, and it's Lady Death talking to Jeddah, and I'm like, this is amazing. How do you fumble the bag this bad? Like it's Lady Death, and Jeddah walks in and is like, there's these two universes. The heroes won't die, so why don't we create a universe where they're together so we can balance and everything? And I'm like, you literally have a great premise, and you just screwed it. Like, oh, it's just MVCI is just wasted potential.
It is because the online was pretty good, and
It had pretty good rollback. Yeah,
if you
It
just
did.
if you just play the game not thinking it's a Marvel game, it's actually the gameplay is not bad. It's not terrible, but the online was out. It's just it hurts because it's like, man, the game's online was actually really good.
Yeah, it was solid. They figured it out, and now it's an SF6, and it is amazing. It was amazing. I was hoping they would announce an open beta today. They didn't. They announced like the final commentator or something, but between like now and June, I can see them doing an open beta in like April or March or April or May.
I was talking to some
But-
people about it. I'm like, I think they'll do one more.
Yes.
I don't know who they'll put in it.
I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. It's probably gonna be the same 8 because people ruin that.
Oh yeah, they got
You
destroyed,
cracked
man.
it. You split it wide open. You cracked the beta wide open. Sorry, this is all you're gonna get. These 8 characters and this version of the game is all you're gonna get until it comes out. Y'all ruined it. We could have been playing. I don't even know who was out by the second beta. Was like Manon or something where they announced by the second beta. I don't remember.
I think
But,
it
like,
was
you could've-
her and Marissa.
Like we could have had them, but you got to crack it wide open, and then your people, well, some people grinding to win money tournaments that we had during the second. I don't know, just whatever. But yeah, third beta, expect the same characters, but like it's to test the online anyway.
Yeah, 'cause
The
I think
game
that-
drops in June.
It's
We'll be
getting
fine.
closer, man. June 2nd.
June 2nd, can't wait. So many people. I really hope people stick around for it because it looks like so much fun.
I have customers that don't even play fighting games that ask to pre-order it. So
Oh, that's great.
it's caught that many eyes around
Oh, yeah.
here, at least.
'Cause there's so much else you can do in it. You don't have to fight, and it has modern controls, so you just do one button. Oh, I was thinking about that real quick. Sorry, another tangent. Thinking about modern controls and how they would balance some of the other characters because with Guile and Chun-Li, people were worried. Oh, one button sonic booms. No, you have to charge.
Yep.
You still have to charge playing those characters. You have to hold down back. You have to hold back before you can do anything. What I was wondering is how they're going to balance grapplers. And
That's a good point.
That's a very exciting point for me.
what I'm thinking is that there might be like other special moves that they have. So I know Geef has like stomps that I saw in the first trailer. That might be one of his specials, or it's a target combo. And if it's a special, that could be something that's part of the that's one of his easy specials. Because for the easy specials, you have 4 specials.
Mhm.
And if your character has a lot of specials, obviously you're not using them all with the easy mode input. And with modern controls, you can do the tap special button, or you can just do the input regularly. So you can do both. You have access to both. So what I'm thinking is that even though, one button SPD, it's either going to be one of 2 things. One, it's just going to be the heavy, and it might do less damage because the heavy SPDs have the least amount of range. Also, if you're in Geef's face anyway, you deserve to get thrown. I don't know what to tell you. So that, and then for super, because it is a button and a direction input to do super, obviously can't have a 1-button 720. So what I'm thinking is, for modern, the 720 might just be a 360. It's like, okay, you're not doing a 720, but you're still doing a level 3 super with Zangief. It's going to be a 360. That's what I think they might do for Zangief, in case of Zangief, I don't know who else is going to have. I doubt Minot's going to have a 720, let's be real. But I think for the case of Zangief, his level 3 modern input would just be 1360 and the super button, or whatever it is.
See
Or
that?
it is it is just a one button 720, but it does it might do less damage because I know the level 3s are scaled in modern. For them being one button supers, they're scaled. So it might be scaled even harder.
Hanan says, nah, it's just triangle for sure.
Yeah. But I think we'll be fine. People worry too much about it. People are going to get good with modern inputs, but the game is also designed for the modern inputs. Because if you go in the trailer and you see Zangief land a spinning pile driver, he's almost full. He's more than half screen away after he lands it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's mad slow. You have to spend resources to get in. So if he hits you with a pile driver, they don't have Oki. So you don't have to worry about pile driver. Oh, I have to guess now. Probably not. Until they have the resources, and then you probably have to guess.
Right.
And then you're probably screwed.
Final question from chat. So which characters do you guys actually want to play?
I don't know. It's like half the roster at least.
Yeah, right now I'm really interested in a few characters. Definitely Manon and Marissa. That's kind of my wheelhouse. I want to give Lily a shot for sure. I can tell you just straight out, I'm not touching Cammy. I'm sorry, man. She's fucking vanilla ice cream. That is such a boring character for me.
That is fair. That is fair. I'm not gonna argue that one.
She's literally the same character in every game, but I get the attraction to playing her. I understand it. I'm just not. I see Cammy and I hard sleep. But yeah, I'll try. Ken obviously. JP is also in my wheelhouse as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to at least take the cast to training mode and just being okay, what character jives with me? Who actually, how do I want to play this game? Because for me, at least when I figure out a character for a game, it's always how do I make the game fun and also use the mechanics in the game to make the game fun for me is way more important than the actual character I'm playing.
I like that. I like vanilla ice shit maybe, dude.
Even Ryu is more flavor now.
It's Cammy,
Dude,
man.
They gave Ryu a new move at least.
Well, she can charge her hooligan now.
Yeah.
That's interesting, I guess. But I don't know. I saw all that and I'm yeah, it's Cammy.
She can charge all her specials. That's the excuse me, my throat's dry. That's what Luke did in 5, where his knuckle specials charge and they had different properties. So they're giving that to some other characters, and Cammy being one of them because I don't know what else you're gonna do with Cammy. And then they gave her V Trigger 2, essentially. Was her not a hooligan, but she does a flip, and they gave her an overhead, but it's 20 frames. So
She has an axe kick. I saw that and I was oh, interesting. But yeah,
that's her.
I'm just she does not interest me at all.
Yeah, no, that's her V Trigger 2 that no one uses because V Trigger 1 is just really good. That's the problem with the early roster before they did 2 V Triggers is that the V Trigger was built into their kit. So trying to come up with another one I was gonna say not Ryu's are both really strong, but Karen, Cammy, maybe it's just them. Balrog to an extent. But essentially, you have characters that, their V-triggers are really ingrained in what they do, so it's where do you go from there? Yeah, Karen's V-triggers, Karen, she had... Her V-trigger 1 was her Rekka's, because she was only in Alpha 3, so she had her Rekka's back. And then V-trigger 2 was her parry. No. As for me, for Street Fighter 6... I don't know, but I really like Ken. I've always really liked Ken and Ryu, so I'm probably gonna go with Ken. I know Rashid is gonna be DLC. No, we don't know, but we know. I don't know how he's gonna play in this game because he was built the ground up for 5, so they have to redesign him. They have to redesign his toolkit to work with 6. So I'm not really sure if I'm gonna drive with him in 6. I'm obviously gonna give him a try 100%. But like I've always played Shotos in almost every game I've played. I think 4 is like the exception. 4 is like the hard exception where I played Rufus and then I played Makoto as well. But in any of
Rick's
the other
favorite
Street
character.
Fighters,
Oh,
But it-
Rufus.
but in like all the others, like Super Turbo, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, and even toward tail end of 4, I was playing Ryu. And then like early on in 5, I played Nash until they cut his legs off. So like I typically play Shotos, and I like Shotos. To me, it's just simple. 3 options, and I know where to go from there. And then like Ken now, he has his like crazy kicks, and he has the Dragon Lash, and they were just really fun for me to use. But I'm still gonna try a bunch of the other roster. So definitely Ken day 1 for me.
Fair enough. All good answers. I think all the characters look pretty good. But
I can't wait for Akuma's trailer to drop and just be blown away by how fucking broken he looks.
Yeah, if Akuma's that crazy, I might be like, all right, I'm playing Akuma.
Kuma
Bye.
has like 0 bad versions of himself, so it's just like it's expected he's gonna be fucked up.
The only game he was ever bad in was MVC 2.
And then he wasn't even like that terrible.
Yeah, every version of Street Fighter, Akuma's fucked up beyond belief.
It's crazy to consider that Third Strike's one of his weaker versions, and he's still like top 7.
Oh yeah, I think like Second Impact he's busted, like actually busted.
damn.
Well,
I
obviously
look
he's
forward
super
to that
sharp.
trailer
Yeah,
now.
sorry. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
wait.
he's gonna have some shit, I guarantee it.
I'm thinking probably Evo. We'll drop
say-
the DLC characters.
To answer Kenyon's question, I just saw it in the chat. Ibuki was kind of born out of necessity for me. I was not having fun with any character in that game. That's why I picked up Ibuki in 5. And you can ask pretty much anyone on the scene that like that's exactly why I picked that character. Because I was just not having fun with anyone else. But yeah, like I do like I'm definitely weeb bait if there's like a samurai character with an EI stance, which is like quick draw, I'm usually gonna play that character. Or like ninjas, sure. But a lot of the times like the ninja archetype, a good example is Chip, like I'm not trying to die in one hit, bro. Like I'm good.
I'm not trying to explode.
Yeah, I'm not trying to guess
Exactly.
wrong once and just lose. And yeah, Master Raven was honestly more of a I didn't even know how to play Tekken, so I was just gonna pick the coolest looking character, so I went with her. And then when I actually wanted to learn Tekken, it was like, okay, which character can I like basically to circle back to what we were talking about, like who's gonna teach me neutral the fastest?
Yeah.
But yeah, Kimberly looks interesting, but unless her mix, like it looks really good, if it is actually like genuinely fucked up, I might play that character.
I had fun with her in the beta. She was neat. Especially when you- Oh, go ahead,
I'm
Chris.
sorry. I'm sorry. What I was gonna say
Fine.
was I don't know for sure only because of how parry functions now.
Yeah, that's a big part of my worry is like if there are all these really good defensive options and not for nothing seems like a lot of them lose to throw. I am like pretty set on going and looking at the grapplers. My other choice would be probably fireball zoning just due to how it already interacts with the drive gauge. Seems very interesting to me. I wouldn't be surprised if Guile is like pretty dominant early on.
I wouldn't be either. It's gonna be heavy meter management. This game's gonna really test how your meter management is. And the other way to think of your drive gauge is it's your guard meter too.
Yeah, the level of understanding resource management so far looks more akin to anime games I've played, where it's like you really have to know at all times like how risky your decision is based on like how much bar do they have, how much bar do you have, is it worth going for this combo, is it going to kill, are you going to exhaust yourself? There's a lot of those situations where like thank God I've been playing a game that literally I get fucking guard broken if I don't consider those resources. because I'll just be ready to accept that, like, sometimes, you're going to run out of resources and die.
Which is especially the case in Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
Because talking about like parry, parry probably being an answer to a lot of those mix-ups. When they're in burnout, now they have to block, and now they're -4 on everything. So then you can run your mix-ups and stuff, and I think that's going to be very potent. It's just getting them to a burnout. It's getting them in that state of burnout, because I know a lot of people early on are probably going to not know how to spend the meter properly, so they're going to get in burnout pretty quickly, and you're going to need to know to take advantage of that. I still think a sleeper top tier is going to be Jamie, simply because he can get his drive gauge back.
Yeah, that and having a command grab seems like a pretty good option.
Yep, oh, they parried? Let me just command grab you. Full combo. Just like Yin and Yang. Because I was thinking about that, like, if you can, like, get to... I mean, it is also a little tedious, but it would require planning, like, getting to Drunk State 4, because his level 2, he goes into Drunk State, regardless. But if you're already in Drunk State, and you do the level 2, you just gain all your drive meter back. So if you're sitting on one bar, you just get your space, pop level 2, oh, I have a full drive gauge now, okay. So, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Damn, we still going this way on a work night? This happens all the time. Everyone should be used to this by now. I say it's an hour. It's usually an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, we kind of just...
It's just how it works.
kind of just wing it.
So,
Lanley was saying the drive rush into a combo takes 3 bars. Yes, it does. When canceling into it. So that's... You have to spend meter to essentially hit confirm. And the raw one, don't really think it even costs a full bar. Because when you do parry, it's like doing parry is like half a bar. And then you just cancel into drive meter, and I think it's... I could totally be wrong. I don't remember. But it was like free. It was like almost free. So I feel like it should cost a whole bar to drive rush.
we'll just have to wait and see.
Agreed.
Game looks sick, though. I can't wait. Rick. You
Yes.
still there? Did you fall asleep?
Nope, I'm still here.
Hope you were
Still
taking
here.
notes, friend. Anything you want to ask these gentlemen before we head off into the night sky here?
No, I'm good. I think I mean, you guys shared a lot of good information here, and I definitely enjoyed listening to it, and thinking about like my own neutral game and things like that. Just like you guys, super excited for Street Fighter 6. Can't wait to go hard in that game and grind. So should be a good time. But no, just thank you both. Appreciate the information, and I was kind of quiet tonight, but definitely was absorbing the information. So.
All right. Any last thoughts from you two? Chris, Jeremy?
I think I've talked enough.
Fair.
Yeah, for me, it's just, can't say it enough. And I tell a lot of people this, and I guarantee you, Chris and Rick, and everyone's heard it from me at least once. Go at your own pace. Don't think that you need to be the best player tomorrow. It's really important to have fun when you're doing this, and don't burn yourself out.
Agreed.
Words to live by. All right, then. So thank you again, guys. Talk about if you guys want to, Chris. If you ever want to talk about something else, brother, let me know. This was fun. I learned a bit. My neutral. Everybody knows my neutral ain't the best, but
I mean, all you got to do is just simplify it into single options and you don't even need to do that until. No, what I'm saying, Jesus, 10:30.
I was gonna say a little bit of rambling by Chris now, but
it's because we've been doing.
Let's wrap her up.
so
we've been doing 10-hour shifts
in the servers, in the
brutal.
Discord servers, whether it's mine, Attack from All Sides, whichever one. If you want Chris D and Jeremy to come on some more and talk about some in-game fighting game topics, let them know. Because I know Jeremy's down for it, because Jeremy loves talking about fighting games.
I do.
And I know Chris is down for it because Chris is going to learn, and Chris is going to learn how to be a teacher when Street Fighter 6 comes out.
Oh god.
'Cause he's going to teach me the fucking game.
Chris is gonna be like the English class where you show up and it's like all this really technical stuff. Then you step into my cool class, and I'm like, all right, you want to learn this fucked up mix-up?
Yeah, he'll teach you the stuff that'll get there. He's gonna teach you the quick and easy path.
So, I look forward to it all. Again, seriously though, if you want these two to come on some more and talk about a topic that you might need help in, well, just let them know. Don't even have to be on here. I'm pretty sure they'll help you out.
Literally, just ping us.
Yeah. Very
Yeah, by all
knowledgeable.
means. My DMs are always open. I can attest to having I think 3 or 4 DNF players in there pretty much every week asking me something about some situation. I always want to help people out because I know fighting games is one of the hardest journeys you'll take by far in terms of learning and really figuring this stuff out. So it might sound like a stupid question, but I assure you it very rarely happens in fighting games. This shit's tough.
It is. Kenyon said something about, can we get some in-person lessons, have them show training mode on screen and all that. I mean, I'd definitely be down for that, but the thing is, everybody plays their own game, so kind of have to stick to something that everyone is playing at once, and it's also, time and stuff like that, so maybe definitely I could, do a little kind of a stream where I go over some stuff, and, not immediately delete it after it ends. But whatever.
Start practicing. You're going to teach people Street Fighter 6.
Yeah,
guess-
I don't want to offer myself up too much, but you can treat me as like a coach for the most part. If people are just looking to hey, can you watch this set and give me input? I'm around. Don't think I'm not. I'm definitely not the person who goes and just doesn't, I don't play other games. I do, and I have a pretty good working knowledge, so I never want people to feel like they don't have resources in some obscure game they're playing or something they want to take seriously. We're definitely here to at least... I will sit in... I do not like Strive, as most people know, but I will sit and watch you play and tell you what to do, or at least give you some pushes and ideas.
There you go.
I'm pretty much the same way. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask us, honestly. And yeah, I'm the quote-unquote Street Fighter guy, but I touch other games too. I play other games. I play Strive. Strive I couldn't really get into, but a lot of the concepts transfer over to different games. So just don't be afraid to ask away.
There you go. You heard it from them yourselves. On that note, though, as B-Man said, it is a work night, so...
It is a work night. Friday's not here yet.
Thank you again, guys, for coming on and talking about the Nooch. It's a very important topic, especially for newer players.
Work on your anti-airs. Anti-airs, DP, punish, stop it. That's when you get into bronze, SF5, when you get in the bronze, when you start a fighting game, what are people doing against you? What is the first thing people are doing against you? What's the first thing you do? How do I get in? You jump. Stop them.
It's true.
You stop them.
True. So, Rick, you want to take us home tonight?
No, it's all you, man.
Okay.
No final words.
So again, thank you again, guys, for coming on. And in the great words of the Godfather, good night and good luck.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.